Hey y'all, this is Pretty Tarot, though I may change this channel to um, Pretty Spiritual or something like that. It was Pretty Spiritual before, but I may change it back. Anyway, let me get to the point. So, I decided to make this video because I've been thinking about some things, okay? And what I'm thinking about is a couple of things. One, the main thing, the main point that I want to get across to you guys is that you need to do what you feel in your heart to do. Okay? Don't do what you feel other people expect you to do. And I'm going to get more into this. Meaning, if you were raised a certain way with certain values, maybe you were raised in the church, maybe you were raised conservatively. So maybe you were raised in a family of doctors, a family of lawyers, a family of whatever. Okay. Maybe you're the only one who has a chance to go to college or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, you guys, that you have hanging over your head that has created an expectation of you and how you should live your life. Okay. Like I said, maybe you grew up in the church, so everybody in your family's religious. You got pastors in your family, or you just got, you were just raised religiously. You know what I'm saying? Um, Whatever's hanging over your head, you need to deal with that. And the reason why is because when it comes down to your happiness in life, it's good to have a good head on your shoulders, good values, morals, um, and a sense of knowing where you're going. But at the same time, it's very crucial for you guys to not allow the way you were raised or the way other people think you need to live your life in order to succeed or in order to be considered a good person or a righteous person or someone who is moral or someone who has good values or whatever, or someone who's considered to come from a good home or whatever it is. Okay, don't let that interfere with your ability to really assess if something will benefit you and allow you to live your life with happiness, okay? And allow you to live your life honestly instead of living a lie. Lots of people live a lie every single day. And it's because they're doing either what society says they should do, or they are doing what their family and their friends think they should do, or they're doing what their religion or their faith thinks they should do. It could be other reasons, but those are some of the most popular. Okay, those are the most popular reasons people will do things. Okay, when it comes down to their life choices. Um, from my own personal experience, I can tell you guys that I made a choice 11 years ago that had a major impact on my life and in my life, but it wasn't a positive one. Okay? It was a choice I made to do what I felt was the right thing to do. I did what I thought um, was going to be helpful to someone else. I did what I also felt pressured to do according to um, the people around me, and also according to um, even the people who weren't around me that should have been there for me as a support system, and also due to the way I was raised, and also due to feeling like I was going to um, avoid something else that I should have just dealt with head on rather than try to, run from it. You know what I'm saying? And also because I just settled. I settled. Sometimes we think, you know, maybe this is the best there will be. Maybe this is as good as it's going to get. Maybe I'm being too picky. Maybe I'm being too overly idealistic. And that can be true for some people, that they can be too picky or too overly idealistic. But then there are cases where people um, they lose hope or they lose faith, and they don't have the best luck sometimes, or maybe at that particular time they don't, and they're impatient, and therefore they decide, well, this is as good as it's going to get, so I'm just going to go ahead and settle because the opportunity is here. I might as well do what makes sense or the right thing, right? um Sometimes we get caught up in, well, I prayed for this, and feeling guilty that whatever it is you thought you wanted, you prayed for, you wished for, right? You think you got it, or you think you're receiving it, but then you realize this isn't really actually what I thought it was, or you realize maybe this might not be what you want, or but you feel guilty and feel like, well, but I wished for this or I prayed for this. So, how ungrateful would I be to, not accept that blessing? And you could be feeling deep down in your heart of hearts, this is not the blessing you actually are looking for, seeking, pray for, wish for. Okay. But you're going along with it anyway because everything is, you know, rationally telling you this makes sense. However, what I discovered, what I realized over the last 11 years is that every decision you make in your life cannot be based on rationale. It cannot. Rationale has its place in your life, right? Because there are going to be plenty of times you will need to make decisions based off of common sense and good old fashioned rationale, right? But there's going to be other times when you need to just trust and follow your heart and use discernment. More than anything, trust and follow your heart, what's in there, okay? Because sometimes, sorry, y'all, sometimes rationale will fail you, okay? Sometimes doing what you think is the right thing to do will fail you. The reason why is because there are some decisions in your life that will deeply impact you personally. And nobody can live your life for you. So let's say when it comes down to who you love, relationships, who you date, who you choose to marry, if you get married, if you have kids, when you have kids, how many kids you have, um, where you choose to live, the kind of career or job you choose to work, where you choose to go to college or school, where you choose to travel, if you decide to join the military, if you decide to live a certain lifestyle, you know. Sorry, y'all, I don't have the Rona. It's just allergies. Anyway, there are going to be, these are like choices that are very personal. Heck, when it comes down to your health, or let's say if you want to, if it comes down to something aesthetic, maybe you want to get some cosmetic surgery done or something. You know what I'm saying? Um, you guys, these things directly affect you. They don't affect anybody else, and they won't truly have an impact on anyone else's life except yours, truly, for the most part. Now, okay, when it does come down to kids, relationships, marriage, stuff like that, it can have an impact on other people. And you should take that into consideration. You really should, because you can impact and affect other people's lives. However, when it comes down to the fact that you still need to look at your own happiness, what is the right thing? Okay, what is the right thing? Let's say, um, like I said, let's say marriage. Let's say, okay, you want to get married, but the person you really want to marry, the kind of or type of person you want to marry, your family may not approve of. Your friends may not approve of. Why the hell do they matter though? They don't. They don't matter when it comes down to who you will spend your life with. They don't matter because you're the person who has to live with that choice. You're the person who has to live your life with the person that you marry, the person you date, the person you have children with, or whatever. Do you want to be happy, or do you want to be complacent and settling for something that it looks okay on paper? It may even look good to everyone else because they all approve of it. Maybe because they like someone that, they may like someone in particular for you because they feel like they got, they got this great career, this great job, they make good money, they seem charming, or they carry themselves well, they're funny or whatever, they get along well, they may have went to the same college as your mom or your dad. It could be a whole lot of things that your family and friends may be looking at, and they may assume they know you well enough to know who's actually going to be the right person for you. Sometimes they can know who might be right for you. But other times, or at least half the time, probably most of the time, they're not going to know who's right for you. Okay? So if you're picking someone to spend the rest of your life with, to have children with, to build and grow with, to do, have assets and things with, to share your bed with every day, okay, every night or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Are they really the person that speaks to your soul? Do they really stimulate you? Do you really get along as well as people think you do? Is their personality really compatible with you? Is their whole, do their soul resonate with you? Their spirit? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do things based off of what other people will think. Now, other people may think you need to get married because you've been dating somebody for too long and playing house and this and that other, and they just think it's time because you're a certain age or whatever. Okay, maybe you might need to settle down, right? But you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle just because that's what other people think you should do. Now, maybe, like I said, they may be trying to play on the fact that, well, we didn't raise you this way. You're supposed to have morals and values. So maybe it might be a situation where, and I've seen this happen before, I've seen this happen many times before, where let's say a guy gets a girl pregnant and then he feels the need to do the right thing because he was raised that way with certain kind of values. Well, is it the right thing? Now, the wrong thing is for definite, for sure, to not take any accountability for the child that you created and to run away from that responsibility. That's the wrong thing to do for sure. But the right thing to do is to take care of your child, make sure you provide for them, and make sure you are a part of their life. Now, does that mean you need to marry the girl you accidentally got pregnant? Probably not. Does it look good on paper and to everyone else? Yeah. Do you feel, could God very well approve of that? And is it encouraged in most religions that the right thing to do is to marry someone that you're expecting a child with because it's considered a negative thing to bring a child out of wedlock? That's for you and God to take up. That's for you and God to take up. There are plenty of children who made it here not marriages. These children are not damned. These children are not bastards. I don't care what people want to call them. These children are not any less special or any less blessed by God because they made it here not in a marriage. Okay? In fact, sometimes the worst thing you can do is to marry someone just because you got them pregnant or they got you pregnant. Okay? Because if you were not planning on getting married in the first place and it wasn't something you really wanted to do, you probably should have just been more careful, you know? But sometimes when people marry someone because they knock them up, they end up discovering that it wasn't such a great idea because they end up finding themselves unhappy and living a lie. They may find themselves looking at someone else. They may find themselves wishing they were with someone else. They may find themselves regretting what happened. And that's not how you want to live. That's not how you want to live. But it's something you would have to live with if this is what you choose to do. Is it your choice? Yeah, it's your choice. Am I here trying to tell people to not be moral? No. I'm very spiritual. I'm very much into God. But I am here to let you guys know that you can't fool or deceive God, okay? Or fool or deceive anybody by making choices based off of principles or values that other people pressure you into, or you have been was let's say had these values instilled in you or indoctrinated in you or whatever. Okay. You need to do things from an authentic place, because making choices based off a circumstance and trying to save face or trying to look like you're doing the right thing or trying to feel like you're doing the right thing is very dishonest. It's dishonest to others, it's dishonest to you. And there's a price to pay for it. And that price is your ultimate happiness. You also could very well miss out on other opportunities, meaning you might could miss out on the person that you actually probably would have been happy with. You know what I'm saying? You might could miss out on, let's say you chose a career based off of what your family thinks is a real job or career, but let's say they want you to be an accountant, they want you to be an engineer, they want you to be a teacher, they want you to be a lawyer, they want you to be a professor, you know, a doctor, whatever, right? Nothing wrong with those careers, nothing wrong with those professions. They're great. However, if it was not in your heart and you were encouraged to pursue it because it's considered stable and it brings you stability and security and to help you make a lot of money to live well in life, and your family or whoever is depending on you, or you're thinking this is what's going to bring you happiness, you could very well find yourself unhappy eventually, because maybe you wanted to be a singer. Maybe you wanted to be a rapper. Maybe you wanted to be a cook, a chef. Maybe you wanted to um, design clothes. Maybe you wanted to be an actor. Maybe you wanted to be a gardener, a farmer. Um, maybe you wanted to be anything but what is considered stable and secure. And I'm not saying all other careers are not considered stable and secure, but they're certainly unconventional, right? They're not typical careers that people are picking because they're considered pipe dreams or they're considered a long stretch or they're considered unpopular. Okay? Um, it doesn't matter what other people think you should do. You need to do what you feel is right. You need to do what you feel is right. You may have been groomed since a young age to follow a path that your parents and family thought was going to be ideal for you. Okay, and they may still be pressuring you to do that. Okay, I actually know what that feels like. I actually know what that feels like. And I had a lot of people discourage me and tell me, no, you shouldn't pursue this kind of career. It will leave you flipping burgers and fries if you do. It's a definite failure if you go for it. But only God knows what could have happened or where it could have went. Had I not listened to those people and pursued it, I'm not mad at those people. They all did what they thought was the right thing to do. We all do, right? But what I'm here to tell you is doing what you think is the right thing to do isn't always the right thing to do. Sometimes it is, but other times it isn't. And sometimes you don't only get to discover that further down the line. And let me tell you something, there's no 100% certain way to know if you're always doing the right thing. But what I will say is if you pray and trust what's in your heart, even if what's in your heart you can't see how it's going to be possible or how it would go over well with others, how would it make you feel? What would it do for you? How would it affect your happiness? You trust what's in your heart, you pray to God about it, try to use your discernment as much as possible, but when you try to use your discernment, you have to tune everything and everybody else out. You cannot listen to all the talking heads around you telling you, do this, do that. You can't. Those people are not going to live your life for you, and they can't. And at the end of the day, when you're sitting somewhere and you're feeling unhappy for whatever reason because you made choices based off of what was expected of you, what you were pressured to do, what you were encouraged to do, what appears to be ideal or right. Um, it's not a good feeling to look back, especially after so many years, and realize, wow, I made choices for the wrong reasons, even though I thought I was making it for the right reasons. Okay. It cost me 11 years on the wrong path, 11 years of unhappiness, 11 years that year after year, it didn't get any better. I knew from the start, it didn't feel right in my heart. It didn't. But it felt like rationally the right thing to do. From every angle, it felt like the right thing to do. Because it was different angles. I was looking at that situation like, well, you know, this is my best option. I knew I had another option. The other option was to make the choice for myself to not settle and to not give in to pressure from other people, to not give in to fears, to not um, make choices based off of the fact that um, I just thought I didn't see any other way. Don't get caught up in tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. Don't get caught up in tunnel vision. That often can happen when you struggle to see any other way because this is the only way people are showing you, and this is the only way society may be showing you. This is the only other way that somehow you can see it because you were boxed in by values you were raised with. Um, you know what I'm saying? And fears that may be, taking over you and feeling like I said, maybe this is as good as it get. Maybe I should count my blessings and go with this. It's not all that bad. You know, people also have to be careful of their addictions to certain things as well that could cause them to make choices that really won't make them happy in the long run. You know, such as materialism. Materialism, sex addictions, whatever it could be. Sometimes people choose careers or partners for the wrong reasons. And so those are some of the reasons. And they'll think, oh, no big deal, this will be okay, this should be fine. Then they realize when time really settles in, when situations get real, they realize, wow, this really wasn't ideal. This really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. You know. So you guys, what I'm going to say is this. Okay? What I'm going to say is this. If something doesn't feel right to you from the start, take your time. Take your time to really, really allow your inner spirit, your soul, and God also to speak to you. Okay? Tune everybody else out. Don't listen to your family. Don't listen to your friends. Unless this is about drugs. If you think drugs is the right thing to do, it's not. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. Drugs will mess up your life. Alcohol will mess up your life. Um, I'll be honest with you. Y'all gonna say that ain't right now. Um, some things just ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you want to be a stripper, okay, maybe you might want to consider becoming a pole dancer. There's a big difference between a pole dancer and a stripper. A stripper is working a strip club, shaking it for that money and being demeaned by men. However, a pole dancer is a physical dancing artist on that pole, and they can do all sorts of things. They're an entertainer, truly, and they can perform for crowds and parties and still make money and it not be demeaning. There's a big difference. Trust me, there's a big difference. Um, Look into that. But I'm not telling you looking at for real, but I'm just saying, like, when you start looking at things from different perspectives, you'll realize, you know, everything is not what people want to make things out to be. You know what I'm saying? But if so yeah, so if you want to be a dancer or something, follow your heart. Follow your heart. Somebody telling you have to work in an office somewhere, that may not be for you. That could be to your detriment. You could find yourself depressed, taking antidepressants and anxiety pills every day. You could find yourself drinking, you know. If you like to party and drink all the time and your family don't like it, maybe yeah, you should listen because it's probably not that good for you. It's not good for your health at least. I don't know. Get it out of your system, but be responsible. Be responsible. But if it makes you happy, I guess, partying, you want to be a DJ and party and party and party and party, that's the career you want, that's the lifestyle you want, that's for you. Doesn't matter if your family approve of it. If you don't want kids, if you don't want marriage and kids, there are people out here, I know people who struggle with that. If you know deep down that marriage and kids is not for you, please don't allow yourself to feel pressured into that lifestyle just because it is considered what people eventually do. No, everybody doesn't eventually do that. But know who you are, and if you know that's who you are, then do you. But when you do you, make sure that you only roll with people who understand that lifestyle and respect it. Don't deal with people who do want marriage and kids, and you know that, and then expect them to not want this from you. Okay, don't get mad at them because you feel like they're pressuring you to do it. Well, you knew they wanted to have marriage and kids, so why did you bother to date them? You know what I'm saying? Date people who you know don't want marriage and kids. Don't assume, oh, if you date someone who already has a kid, that they're not going to want marriage and kids. Don't assume that if you date someone who's already I don't know, I don't know what people are assuming, but you can't afford to assume those things. Have honest conversations with people as well when it comes to dating and love and things like that. Have honest conversations. Be upfront. Say, hey, I'm looking for marriage and kids. Are you? Don't be afraid to tell people that because you think it's going to scare them off. If you're the bachelor or bachelorette type, be upfront. People say, hey, you know what? I'm the bachelor or the bachelorette type. I don't do marriage. I don't do kids. I don't do relationships. I don't do commitment. That's not for me. I like to be a free agent. Tell people that up front. Be honest. It doesn't matter how bad you want to date that person. Do now that's considered doing the right thing. Okay, that's considered doing the right thing because then you're considering everybody in the scheme of everything. Okay, you're still being true to you, but at the same time, you're not subjecting somebody else to something that they may not be okay with. Let that person or these people tell you, yeah, you know what, that's not really for me. You do you. I'm gonna go find somebody who wants marriage and kids. You know what I'm saying? So that way, everybody wins. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets their time wasted. You don't waste your time. They don't waste their time. You know? Um, but I just felt like making this video because um, I done made quite, I done made quite a few choices that has impacted my life in ways that, you know, that caused me to be unhappy and depressed. At times, even anxiety, because I went down the rabbit hole of expectations, expectations that really came from other people, society pressure. Some of it came from my own desires and being impatient enough to wait for what it is that I really wanted. And I was uncertain, well, is really what I really want going to come or is it not? And also getting caught up in situations that made me extra anxious, like I'm like, I gotta distract myself away from something else. Be careful that you're not trying too hard to distract yourself from one thing that's bothering you or one situation that's bothering you to the point where you allow yourself to get involved in another situation that it can cause you even more of a hassle. So let's say you had a bad breakup with somebody you really love and you didn't really want that relationship to end. It just came to an end because maybe you two wanted two totally different things. The other person wanted marriage and maybe you didn't. You don't go on rebound dates to get over it. I know this is what society tells you to do, but I said earlier, don't do what society tells you to do because it creates a mess. It creates a mess. You just take time for yourself to be yourself, to be with yourself, to be okay being alone again. You don't just jump right back into the next relationship, rebounding, trying to distract yourself, trying to get over the last person. Because then that way you're fooling yourself and you're gonna get people hurt. You may get yourself hurt or you may get someone else hurt. You know, you may think, oh, I'm not gonna fall for nobody else, and then discover that you do, or that you did. But then you realize you still don't want marriage, but then that person does. You know what I'm saying? You end up creating hassles for the both of you in hurtful situations. So, you guys, at the end of the day, you have to do you. Okay? If you're in the closet, and when I say in the closet, if you're LGBTQ, you don't have to hide in a closet. You don't have to hide who you are just to be accepted. I mean, it's up to you completely. And you do so at your own choice on if you're going to be sincere with who you are or not. Some of you may feel the need to hide in the closet because of your religion, your faith, or because you're afraid of what other people will think of you or whatever. You're afraid of people won't accept you, family, friends, co-workers, or whatever. But it could also hurt you to be living a lie. I have seen and known people who have lived a lie. They were gay, they were transsexual, whatever they were, and they were living a lie. They were trying to convince everybody else around them that they were straight or that they were this or that they were that. And even the people around them could see that they were living a lie. And people think other people don't know, and these same people are talking about this person behind their back because people know this person couldn't even hide it. I had a coworker, this dude, oh my God, you guys, he tried so hard to convince the rest of us that he wasn't gay. He talked about his wife, or his fiance, I guess at the time. He talked about their child they had together. In the meantime, he was as gay as ever. We were all very confused by that. Nonetheless, if he says he's straight or he's acting like he's straight, what's it to us? Why do we have to care? You know? By the way, you guys, if this video is too long, go up to the right hand corner of the screen, click on speed settings, and put it on 2x, okay? So that you get to speed it up. But yeah. So this guy, he he really tried to convince everybody that he was, he was straight, and we all knew better. And the proof came in when he had a hand in hiring a new supervisor that he had work under him, and it was a clearly out homosexual gay guy who was not in the closet and proud to be gay. Okay? And oh my gosh. We would see these two at work when they thought nobody wasn't paying attention, flirting their behinds off, okay? Flirting their behinds off. Behind the scenes, and when they even out openly when they thought nobody wasn't paying attention. Um and the gossip spread. Nobody openly went to their face about it or anything like that because it wasn't none of our business. But it was just the fact that he was living a lie. He was living a lie, and many of us actually felt bad for his wife because um I guess she didn't know, though she should have known, but maybe she didn't care. But hey, if she didn't care, then she's living her life and she's being true to herself. She don't care. Maybe she does care. But that brings the other topic. If you are turning a blind eye to someone leading a double life and you're involved with them and you're telling yourself it doesn't bother you, be honest with yourself. Does it or does it not? If it doesn't, then you're good. You won't have any regrets. However, if it does bother you deep down inside, but you just you don't want to bring it up. You don't want to approach this person, or you feel like this is as good as you're gonna get. Nobody's perfect. You want to marry that person so bad, or you want to be with this person so bad, and as long as they acting like they're okay with being with you, even though secretly they may want something or someone else. And this goes for, it doesn't matter if you're gay or if you're not gay. Plenty of people are with other people and they really want to be with somebody else for lots of different reasons. Okay? Some people, they married somebody because they got a child with them that they didn't plan for. Some of them, they with people because they may have gotten married, they were in love, they got kids, now they stand for the kids. And let me tell you something, you're not doing your kids a favor by sticking with somebody because you feel like this will be good for the kids. Um, if you're arguing, and things like that, um, having fights and stuff like that, you have a toxic marriage or relationship, that's not healthy for kids. They see it and they internalize it, and it makes a poor example to them as to what a commitment should look like. Don't lie to your children that way. Okay. I'm not saying if you are having marital problems, just instantly get a divorce or anything like that. But I'm saying if you know this is just never going to get better, y'all have been to counseling, you've been at couples therapy, married, and you're just completely unhappy. You know this is not going to change. Then it's okay. Let that go. You can still both be involved in your children's lives and still be an active parent. Uh, you know, you could still make positive examples to your children. Okay. without feeling like you have to force yourself to be married to somebody who you're not really happy with. And there's going to be different reasons why you might not be happy, and it's not always going to be arguing and stuff. For some of you, just going to be, you just realize this ain't the right person. you know but and I would know about that. I would know about that. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced that on both ends. But um you guys just make sure that you are honest and true to what's in your heart. Please stop doing things because you feel it's the right thing to do according to what everybody else says is the right thing to do, or according to how you were raised, or the values, or the religion, or the faith. um, God understands well your situation, and God is a loving God. God is a forgiving God. God is an understanding God. Okay. um, People make mistakes, people make errors. Humans are not perfect. God knows He didn't make us perfect. Okay. If you really feel it is that important to you based on religion, you know, just repent and then ask for the correct person to marry. Ask for the correct path to take. Depending on what the situation is. Um, you guys, you will figure that out. But I just really felt it's important to let you know, do what is right in your heart. To heck with what everybody else is saying. And I'm saying all of this because, like I said, after 11 years, I realized in every year, it just didn't get any better. I knew from the start it wasn't going to make me happy. I just convinced myself it was the right thing to do. And every year it got worse and worse and harder to deal with. It literally felt like for the last 11 years of my life, like I have lived a lie, a lie that it didn't do anything for me. It didn't. It benefited, someone else, but it didn't do anything for me. Okay, except make me unhappy, very unhappy, miserable. You know, um, it was like literally going down a rabbit hole. But you know, the one thing I have to learn to do is to clean up the mistakes that I've made, own up to them, clean them up, and look at how can I make the positive changes. How can I reverse this, or how can I uh, end what doesn't make what doesn't what's the word, what doesn't serve my happiness. you know and it takes time to take those steps to make that transition, and that's a transition I've been making, and it doesn't make sense to other people. It really doesn't. But it's not for other people, and that's the other thing. When you finally realize that you've made choices that don't make you happy and isn't serving um, your greater purpose in life, and you finally decide you're going to make that transition out of it into something else different, or to do something different in your life, or to end something that should have not, started, or whatever it is, or to make a change. Like I said, if you want to make that career change, if you want to make that job change, if you want to make, a change in your love life, whatever it is, if you want to make a change for your health, a change in your lifestyle. You may want to go vegan after, eating meat all your life. And your family may not be cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all were raised to be some serious meat eaters, and things like that. You may want to change. You may want to stop drinking, and your drinking buddies ain't gonna be cool with that, because that's what y'all, that's what your friendship was based off of. So you may lose friends or something because you decide to stop drinking. You know what I'm saying? Um, because you can't hang around the same people when you make those changes. And you're going to have people who are going to say, why are you doing this? Or this doesn't make sense. Or what are you thinking? You know what I'm saying? You may decide you want to become an astronaut after you've been a lawyer for I don't know, 10, 20 years. Who knows? You may decide you want to go get a nose job, a facelift. You may decide you want to get implants, breast implants, butt implants, doesn't matter. You know, hopefully you don't want to change your skin color. Hopefully you don't want to do that. I feel like that's the one thing people should leave alone. But at the same time, you gotta live your life. You gotta live your life. But please think twice about the things that you do decide to do. Um, Now, there are gonna be some choices that some of you gonna want to make. They may be frowned upon morally. You know, take that to God. Take whatever that is to God, because it's going to be between you and God. Though I will say this, I do not encourage anybody to be out there committing crimes, killing people. I don't encourage people to drink or do drugs. I don't encourage people to um, do anything that could hurt or violate someone else. Okay, that's the one thing I will stand on. So this ain't a free for all video. This isn't do do thine will, or whatever it is that Satan believes in. No, I'm not for that. I'm still a child of God. So I'm still going to tell you do the right thing, you know, um, based on based on a moral conscience, based on having some sort of integrity and ethics. We all know the difference between right and wrong, okay? But there's a whole lot of gray area when it comes to what is right versus what is wrong. Only you can know what's right in your heart, and you and God are the ones who have to, deal with whatever choices you make in life at the end of the day. So just make your choices wisely, pray about it, don't rush into anything. And if it's, something you really feel is in your heart, take it to God. Take it to God first. Tune everybody else out. Otherwise, you could look back later and feel like, wow, I didn't do. So, peace, you guys. That's all I'm going to say.